It's politics season, learners, so you want to beat the living snot out of everyone who disagrees with you even a little, right?
Well, here's a foolproof way of how to win any argument in this Uno Dos of Trace one-off, and the crux of it is so simple: listen and ask questions. I know it sounds really easy, but we're just dumb, bumbling humans at the end of the day. We're not that complicated. Let's kick into it. Hey there, learners. Trace here. Thanks so much for tuning into my show. We're in a contentious time in our country right now. The holidays, when arguments get personal, when humans attack each other's views about everything from sports to senators to cranberry sauce to gravy. I'm on both of those trains. And they do this after imbibing just a little too much sangria, like at my house. I think this might not just be me. Is it not just me? Right, yeah. An argument is one of the oldest human traditions. Friends, family, lovers, haters, everyone argues, but almost everyone is doing it wrong. The best way to win an argument is to listen and ask questions. Seriously, it is stupid how simple this is. If I am saying,
taxes are too damn high,
your reply shouldn't be no way, because that opens a chasm that we will never close. Instead, try asking, how do you figure that? Then whatever they say, this is crazy, listen to them. Maybe they're an economist. Maybe they're a racist, but honestly, it's more likely that they're afraid of the unknown. They're worried about the future. They carry trauma, or perhaps they have their own sources that they're pulling from. And the only way you're gonna know that is if you listen to what they're saying and ask them questions about it. It might even be that you don't totally understand the issue that you're trying to debate either. I mean, is pepperoni the best pizza topping? Are hot dog sandwiches? How do you know unless you talk it over? And if you keep listening and keep asking questions, like what is a sandwich? What would be the best pizza topping if not pepperoni? Eventually, you'll both get to a place of understanding. Arguing is an art form, and at its heart is persuasion. It's not a war, it's not a battle, it's more of a dance, right? And it may seem impossible, but it's all about skill. So let me give you an example. When you check in at a fancy hotel, is your plan to make your own bed? Hang up your towel after every use? Squeegee the walls in the shower? What if we both check into a hotel room and in yours there is a sign that says, save the environment, reuse your towels during your stay and protect vital resources. And in my room, it says, join your fellow guests in saving the environment. Almost 75% of guests help by using their towels more than once. You can join them and help protect vital resources by using your towels during your stay. Yes, it's longer. However, this is an argument from the hotel to persuade you. It was the subject of a huge psychology study. And the second card worked really well. In fact, according to their results, if we each had 4 towels in our room and those cards, chances are your save the environment message would help you reuse maybe 1 or 2 towels. And my join others to save the environment message would help me reuse 2 or 3 of my towels. That's a lot. This is statistical data. Persuasion works if you do it right. And it's based on several factors. The biggest researcher in this field came up with these 6 ways to persuade: social proof, authority, liking, reciprocity, commitment and consistency, scarcity. Social proof is when we look to others to see what's right and desirable. Authority is about looking to influencers and leaders. Liking is when a brand that we already like tries to make an argument. Reciprocity is when we inherently want to return a favor. Commitment and consistency is authenticity. We want to do something that we say we're going to do. And then last but not least, scarcity. If it's rare or elite or limited, we want it. You can think of this in all sorts of different ways. If you're at a store and there's a sale, that's scarcity. If you really like that brand, that's double persuasion. If your friend tells you about the sale, triple persuasion. And not that it makes it triple the power. I'm just saying all of the different boxes are being ticked. If someone we like thinks a crazy conspiracy theory is probably real, then maybe we'll consider it. And if no one we like thinks it's real, but somehow a leader or influencer that we're super into says that it's worth looking into, our brain will say, we should probably be persuaded by this argument. If you go to an event where you're surrounded by people that you like and they all seem happy and maybe they're nice to you, give you a chair or help you by saving your spot in line at this event that doesn't happen that often because it's kind of scarce. Maybe if you all start shouting about imprisoning people that haven't committed any crimes, you might join in and you might even believe it. persuasion is extremely powerful. And this is just one of many paths to persuasion. Knowing that these paths are there and thinking critically about them is like a vaccine for many forms of persuasion, but there are other methods too. For example, the Elaboration likelihood model says that there's a continuum of understanding ranging from central to peripheral. Anytime someone says something persuasive, you are either persuaded or not. And it comes down to how they crafted the message for you to process it in your little meatbag brain. Central processing is thinky. You want to think about it and make a decision. Like every time Wikipedia asks me for money, they're trying to appeal to me on central processing. They want you to think about Wikipedia, they want you to think about how you use it, they want to think about how valuable it is. You're usually on the website when they're doing this, so they're like, no, you really like it, look at it. That is persuasive. To me. I definitely give them $3 a month at Wikipedia. Come on, it's $3. Peripheral, though, is an emotional process. You're just gut acting and being persuaded without thinking. Like every time you see an ad for food, they want you to think about eating right now and not thinking about the calories or your fitness plan or anything like that. So here are 3 persuasive messages.
Let's eat some tacos.
Do you want to get a beer?
Vote for me.
These are all arguments, persuasions from very well-dressed, extremely handsome people. Maybe you reacted peripherally to tacos.
Who doesn't love a taco?
Then you were somewhere in the middle for beer. What time is it? Is it too early for a beer? Is it too late? Do I even like beer? And centrally for vote for me. Because is Trace actually running for something? Would I vote for him? What are Trace's positions? These are centrally processed thoughts. Most advertisements for products want you to think peripherally and nothing else. It's an emotional or gut reaction. They're designed this way. People go to school to make these things. I had whole classes in grad school about how to craft a message to avoid central processing. If you want to win an argument, you can use peripheral processing. You can appeal to someone's emotions, to someone's gut reaction, and you might persuade them in that moment. But, and maybe you've sensed this already, it's fleeting. Peripheral persuasion doesn't last. You need another burger hit every, so often, which is why there are so many ads for food. And also maybe why the president does so many rallies. They need to consistently and constantly hit you with these emotional arguments to keep you primed to agree with them.
Fear. You're still afraid. You're afraid of whoever I tell you to be afraid of this week, and then next week it'll be somebody else.
By saying it over and over again, I can continue to argue that you should feel fear constantly, even if you've never had a crime committed against you and you've never seen a crime in your real life. You're gonna feel afraid. And that's gonna mean that my argument has won. Again, those handsome men, good arguments if they're going peripheral processing. Central processing requires effort and it sticks with you. And I don't mean effort on their part, though that's true. I mean effort on your part. You have to think about the argument. You keep going to the gym after you ate that whole pizza last night with your friends, and you keep thinking positively even though you cried watching the video about how over 500 children may never see their parents again because of the United States government. Central processing is more thought intensive, so it's tougher to trigger, but it has longer lasting results, which is why it's worth it for anti-smoking campaigns or pro-environment groups to use central processing. You rarely see them give you just emotional reactions, right? It's usually something like, we need to protect the environment, here's the value proposition, and maybe there's an emotional hook to it, but it's central processing all the way. I'm going to outline one more really quick here at the end. The FBI uses a system called a behavioral change stairway model for hostage and other negotiations, and it's all about persuasion. It's an argument that you should let your hostages go because I am going to try and influence you to do so. And it involves listening, empathy, building a rapport, influencing, and then behavioral change.
Notice it aligns really well with the 6 principles of influence.
You can't win an argument with a complete stranger. You're not their peer. You have no authority over them, and you've never done them a favor, so why would they listen? And you as a stranger are not scarce, right? You'll have to go look it up if you want more information. The point is, if you want to win an argument, the best way to do it, ask questions, listen, empathize. If I say a hot dog is a sandwich, ask me a question about it. Don't just say it's not. If I say we should move in this political direction or that political direction, say how, why. If I say we should buy a blue car, ask me a question. Right now, a lot of people have stopped listening. They've stopped asking questions. They just disagree and move on. Mostly the leaders are shouting, the pundits are shouting, the internet is shouting, everybody's shouting. No one's listening, dancing, persuading. And it doesn't help that politics has become a team sport. Even if a member of the team lies, betrays their country, or calls prisoners of war losers, many people will continue to support them because they're part of the team. Not because it makes logical sense, but they've been persuaded it's very difficult to get out of. Ask questions, empathize, and listen. Because of the peripherally processed non-empathetic social support, some of these really intense emotional arguments are actually fleeting. And before you blame the other side, it's important to know that the ones at fault are actually us. You, me, we are at fault because we'd rather see a win than see good policy. We let money corrupt our systems, we let sensationalists corrupt our messaging, and we can fix that, but we have to centrally process what's being said, ask each other questions, and really listen. This might seem like no duh, but human psych is complicated. So complicated again that the FBI had to literally train special agents on how to do this. Do you want to win an argument? The first step is to listen, then empathize and ask questions. There's nothing wrong with holding a position, but in this dance, you're both gonna have to learn if you want to get anywhere. If you listen to someone and ask them a question, you're building that rapport. You're also challenging their argument. You're saying, how is this going to make our country better? Why should we get that kind of pizza? How do you think we're going to get there? Maybe you should stop for directions. You're using empathy, and it might take a little while, but eventually you're going to get somewhere. Thanks for popping by, everyone. Normally I do deepy divey series on topics like where humans come from, or what'll happen when we leave Earth, or the biggest atom smasher in the world, what's happening there, maybe even fake news. But sometimes there's just not enough to do one video, or I just don't have time, which is like now. So I thought I'd try just doing this one-off. Tell me what you thought so I can decide if it's worth it to do more one-offs. Let me know in the comments. Also, I might try and persuade you that this mustache is actually a good thing and not just cool for my Ted Lasso costume. Tell me what you think in the comments. I want you to use your best argument against and or for mustache. Tell me. Comments. Thanks for learning with me. I am Trace, and I'll see you in the future.